Members, we're going to move on to the next file item, which is file item number 24 by Senator Rubio. She is prepared. Please read.
Senate Resolution 17 by Senator Rubio relative to Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention Month.
Senator Rubio, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, today I rise as a member of the Legislative Women's Caucus to present Senate Resolution 17 in honor of Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention Month. I rise not just as a legislator, but also a victim's advocate and victim of domestic violence myself. For too many young people, what should be their first experience with love, relationship, kindness, tenderness becomes a nightmare. For too many young people, what should be something beautiful becomes fearful, manipulative, and it turns into abuse. 1 in 3 teens today will experience some form of dating abuse this year alone. That could be physical, sexual, verbal, or emotional. That means in any given high school classroom, there are young people who are suffering in silence right now as we're talking here today. They're unsure of what's happening, and they're also unsure on who to turn to for help. The numbers are really staggering. 1 in 11 female teens and 1 in 15 male teens reported experiencing physical dating violence last year. 14% of Native teens reported experiencing physical dating violence, the highest percentage in a group. But also, transgender youth have experienced sexual violence in their lifetime, almost at 50%, a really high number. It is unfortunate that LGBTQ youth also are impacted in their classrooms, with 43% reporting physical dating violence and nearly 60% reporting emotional abuse. These numbers aren't just statistics. These are lives of our young individuals who really need us to step up, pass policies, and ensure that they're safe, not only in their classrooms, but outside with their families and with their friends. Teen dating violence is also a pattern that repeats itself. When someone experiences violence, they go on to sometimes do the same as adults, and we need to stop that. The reality is that so many engage in that kind of behavior because they don't know any better. And as legislators, we need to make sure that we bring awareness, that we bring the education that they need. It really does start making a difference when we talk about it and we call it what it is, abuse and an unhealthy relationship. And they also need to know what that looks like. I don't think parents ever sit down and go through the process of explaining what a healthy relationship looks like. And I wouldn't be doing my job as an advocate if I didn't remind parents that coercive control is abuse based on a bill that I passed. Parents often like to ask their family members, are you being assaulted? But the reality is that that's not only abuse. You have to also ask things like, are you being asked to do something against your will? Is there abuse, verbal, physical, or otherwise, if you try to see your parents, your family, your friends? That is how they isolate a victim, and that is coercive control. A pattern of coercive control is abuse, and it is a crime. Please make sure that we're having these conversations, because oftentimes we only ask, are you being assaulted? So this is something that's very important. I always try to remind people that it is important to note when you stop seeing your family member in a relationship, something might be wrong, so we have to be vigilant as well and ask the questions that they want us to ask. Today, I really want us to send a clear message that we're here to stand with our teens, victims, and that we will not tolerate domestic violence, teen violence, and if it hurts, it is not love. And so I encourage us today to respectfully vote yes on SR 17. Thank you.
Senator Grove.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise too as a proud co-author of SR 17 and thank the author for bringing it forward. As my colleague from Baldwin Park said and highlighted, California teen dating violence has become an epidemic among our young youth. Many teenagers are vulnerable when they experience violence while dating, and it could cause long-term negative impacts such as depression, anxiety, and long-term trauma. We also know that one of the common ways that human traffickers capture their victims is through dating. A lot of our young women, when we were working on human trafficking legislation the last 2 years, they didn't even realize that they were being trafficked because it was their boyfriend or their partner that was trafficking them. And So that also can lead to a life of despair and trauma. The same cycle of manipulation and control that can happen between these two teens while dating can also lead to unhealthy patterns in future relationships. If you believe that that's the way you're supposed to be treated at a young age, you may carry those things forward in adulthood. I've learned from my survivors in the work in combating human trafficking that these patterns of behavior can impact the rest of their lives, especially in their relationships. And it's important to educate our youth on how to be treated in relationships and how to have decency and respect between each other in relationships and provide the resources that they need if they get stuck in an abusive situation. By being aware of teen dating violence, we can highlight what makes healthy relationships to protect our youth from abuse. And I'm honored to be a co-author for SR 17 and respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Seeing no further discussion or debate, Senator Rubio, you may conclude.
Just want to thank my colleague for always being such a good partner on this issue and respectfully ask for an aye vote. Thank you.
Members, this is also eligible for unanimous roll call. Is there any objection to using the unanimous roll call? Any objection? Seeing none, ayes 36, no 0. The resolution is adopted.